Hello and welcome back to It Takes Dutch Courage. As you can see, we are finally getting a hint of spring. We're sat outside on a Thursday afternoon and enjoying a cup of tea at the moment. No beer yet, although that will come when our family will arrive in the next few minutes. In this video, we'll have a bit of like little things that we've done last weekend. This week we haven't had a lot of time to do a lot of work.
The main reason we haven't been able to progress much on the house yet is that we are still waiting for a few things. So we keep having to find little jobs around the house as well. Something big that should have happened this week was the installation of new windows. Unfortunately, the window installer has had a bit of a backlog due to continuous bad weather over the last few weeks. So they should have come this week. Hopefully they'll come over the next week or two. But we haven't got a new date yet, unfortunately. So that means some other things we can do in the house are on hold as well.
Also, one thing we did do this week was went to IKEA, not the big one, there's a small one in Viseu where you only have the studio to do things like, well, order and design kitchens. We had in a previous video already shown you the design of our kitchen, and on Tuesday evening we set off to finalize all of that. So we now have got a kitchen on order and it will be delivered next week on Saturday if all is well. Not that we are going to install it anytime soon. That will have to wait until we've got all the other work done, which includes the underfloor heating, the walls, the ceilings, the electrics, everything. But within that delivery will also be our temporary kitchen. And we are going to temporarily move our kitchen setup in some shape or form to our entry hall, to the utility room, so that as soon as that is set up, we can start working on the kitchen and do all of that work.
That's the point. We can actually take out the old kitchen that's already falling apart. We'll have to do a few things there to make it usable. We will even though it's a temporary kitchen, we will need a bit of water as well. So we need to create a temporary water point. At least we can reuse the halls later for the underfloor heating, but it means a little bit of not structural work, but a bit of practice for setting up the temporary kitchen, then taking out the kitchen and installing a proper kitchen.
Yes, really can't wait for that. Soon when we were sat in IKEA, it's like, okay, now I really want it. But yeah, it will have to, we will have to be patient. But as soon as the windows are here and that delivery is here, we can go at our own pace and make our way through everything that needs to happen. So yeah, exciting things. If you want to see other people work, which is presumably one of the reasons you might be watching this, if you're expecting more like DIY and actual housework, it will soon finally make it to a YouTube channel near you in the very near future. So the rest of this video, I think, will be a bit of a compilation of some of the stuff that we've done. Might be a bit boring. You might enjoy watching other people work. And we also have some exciting things to show because we have got grapevines that are actually still alive. They're not the best, but there is green on them. So let's show you that in a bit.
Yeah, we've noticed that some of the vineyards that get a lot more sun exposure started growing a week before ours, but suddenly some of the leaves have started appearing here as well. And that makes sense because our cherry tree was a little bit behind as well. But it
just really, like us, we're a bit behind.
We're always a bit behind.
Yeah.
It's fine. But it is starting to grow a bit there as well. It doesn't seem that every vine is quite as productive as the other. So we'll have to see which ones are viable and which ones might need trimming back and just regenerating a little bit.
But that's a bit of a theme here this year, really looking at what is still alive, what isn't, and then going from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So enjoy a bit of work we've done outside and enjoy the nature. And then we hope to see you again the next time as well.
As you can see, there are quite a few greens on our grapevines, which we are very excited about. Even though during the viewing and when we were here in between, we did see that there was still some growth, but we were like, you never know, things might have gotten damaged and they might have just done their last push. But apparently there is still some life in there, so who knows, we might be able to make some wine this year. Not all of them are as green, I think, as they should. Some get more light, so they might be a bit ahead, and some of them probably are really close to dying out. So we will have to do some pruning here as well, to maybe see if we can get some more healthy growth here, because it is such a lovely place to have the vines. Eventually it might provide a lovely shady spot over summer under the grapevines. What could be more idyllic? We went downstairs with a big plan to install some ceiling lights into our garage space, but when we tested the fittings, that was still in there, and we found that they were still working. We also found that the ceiling height was a bit too high for our shoddy little ladders. We would just about make it, but it would not be worth the effort of doing all that work, which would cost us probably an hour just for a bit of directed light. Especially now with the days being longer, we can do a lot more stuff outside, and we'll leave the ceiling lights for when we actually go and do the entire space. We'll have 6 big light points anyway, instead of 3 measly ones, and there will be big LED tube lights to illuminate the entire space. So we're going to wait just a bit, and until then we've got this. It's dry today, so cleaning up a bit more of the cherry tree cuttings, preparing them to become firewood. Beep, 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 beep. So we've got this temporary wood storage that we rigged together in the first week. Ta-da! But it's getting a bit
Yeah, we can't go further left because that's an access hatch for the drain pipes.
Sewage, yes. We can't go further right
because door. We can come out a little bit and make the stacks a little bit more usable. This section can probably just join this section.
Yeah.
And then we have a little bit left.
Or the other way
but
around.
Ideally we have higher supports,
yes,
so that we can build them up higher. So these bricks are
very temporary.
Only just separating things a little bit.
I can move some things around today and at least empty that thing.
And anything that comes off there can just join there as well.
Can it? because those will be bigger bits as well. We've got those big, but they are dry, so they can probably go.
They can go
on the proper stack.
Thing is, this is the more easily burnable stuff, and this is the slightly harder wood than the bigger pieces.
It's already nicely categorized. Is there another place where we can at least kind of drop this in now? I'm not
left of the
thingy.
We want to chop up the bigger pieces as well. Some are really awkward. While a lot of them we tend to take through the miter saw, especially if they're a bit more straight, a bit more manageable and not too thick. We have a lot of awkward pieces as well, T-shapes and things that don't work very well in the miter saw. So let's see if this still runs. It's not super warm, so it might take a few attempts. Obviously, we are not professionals.
Hij staat nog niet aan.
Oh, hij moet er binnen nog. Heb je hem vast?
Ja. It does really help if you plug it in. Pro tip. Follow us for more DIY pro tips. Always switch on your machinery.
A few weeks ago we cut down this massive tree. This might be a good time to show it falling. Something we haven't done is move it down, but to be able to do that we also need to trim back all the branches that come off of it. We made a very brief start when we cut it down, but there's a lot more to remove. It sounds like a nice lunchtime job as well. And with the weather being as great as it is today, there is no excuse not to be outside, of course. So let's strip it back and then we'll figure out how to move it later. Few of the smaller trees we need to get rid of anyway, so if they're in the way, I'll just move them now. On the top end you could really see why the tree was dead. It seems to have been really attacked by God knows what. Likely the caterpillars, but who knows. But you can see how it's been chipped into quite heavily. It's the entire tree stripped. You can see all the way down. Nothing left on it as far as I can tell. So, job done. Het is ook al heel lang.